Another major part of loot, I said before that like when you had that crappy quiver that had strength on it that you would never ever use for your demon hunter, all you could do was break it down.
Yes.
In addition, I think that crafting as a feature lacked depth in Diablo 3. It was good for a while, and there was some great things in it, but it didn't last that long. So we have improved crafting, and you can still break it down and make new things. There's quite a few new recipes, a lot more legendary recipes, and legendaries are definitely the best items in the game. But that aside, those same resources you used for crafting can now be used for a system called enchanting. And enchanting is a customization system. There's two aspects to that. One is transmogrification, which is a funny word we've stolen from elsewhere. And that's simply that you can make any item that's ever passed through your inventory, you unlock the appearance of it, and you can make any other item look like that. So that I thought was a very easy, fast way for people to be able to customize their characters in Diablo. Otherwise, it would be whatever the most powerful item was, and it doesn't matter how much of a mishmash it looked like in your character, you had to have it because it was most powerful. We've removed that requirement. But the main thing about the customization of enchanting is that simply you can reroll any given affix. So I used the reference earlier that you were a whirlwind barbarian and you find a hammer that has a plus earthquake damage on it. If you don't want that, if you really like your whirlwind, you can try to re-roll that plus earthquake damage to be plus whirlwind and stay in the build you want. And that costs resources, crafting materials, and money, but allows you to keep customizing your gear. It also makes those gear that are near miss, like, oh, this would be perfect if only it had more vitality. Well, you can keep trying to re-roll the vitality and spend that money and make sure that it does. So that's another interesting system where we've given the players more choice. And it's still a random system. You can't guarantee anything, but you can keep trying at it. You get another pull at the random roll there. Yeah, exactly. So all the legendaries are dyeable as well, so people can change the color and the look of whatever they want. And that turned out to be that we thought that was just a nice value add feature. It turns out in the beta it was used like crazy, so that it wasn't that hard for us to add. So I'm really glad that people are enjoying it as much as they are.
Do you guys have any plans at all in terms of like expanding the PvP, like making it bigger?
Yeah, PvP has been a troublesome thing for us. And the reason is straightforward, but the solution is unfortunately extremely complex. So the reason is simply that the multiplayer that we focused on from the day one of Diablo 3 development was co-op multiplayer. And I think that continues to improve. Even in Reaper Souls, there's additional features for that. There's co-op bonuses for playing together. We think it's really fun, to play with other people in the game. And console is a good example where we focused in that case on the console-specific experience of the couch co-op, where 4 players playing on a screen. That sort of old-school feel is something that we embraced, and I think also is very fun. It's one of the most fun, I think, couch play games around. Anyway, so that's the multiplayer we focused on. And then as far as the replayability aspect of it, we really not doubled down, quintupled down on PvE content of player breadth, essentially, with all of the skills that we have, 20 plus skills, 5 runes apiece, and all these different combinations, adding elective mode where people can choose any skill from any category for the more complex player. The amount of width or breadth that we had for that player game made it kind of impossible to balance PvP. And so then we were struck with this concern. Either we give people pre-made PvP classes and gear where we're deciding exactly what their numbers are so we can make it balanced, or we leave it completely unbalanced and, a player who's lucked out and got better gear and has some build that is a little more effective than another player, even of equal level and equal hours of play, is just going to annihilate the other guy. It's going to be completely unfair because it was never balanced with that in mind. If you're going to make a balanced PvE experience, you kind of have to do that from moment one. We didn't do that, and that's why the PvP mode that we really worked on for a while, this team-based brawling, didn't work out. It just couldn't be fair. We just made a game that was too complex and had too many dials and knobs that had to be tuned to be probably physically possible. So we need to find some other solution to that. PvP is another thing. You asked earlier about ladders. It is something that's discussed incessantly around the office, and it's something that we wish we had a richer system than the brawling we have in there, and hopefully we could still figure out a way to do that. We kind of designed ourselves into a corner away from having balanced PvP. So we got to find some system where the character-to-character specific balance doesn't feel so fair or isn't really the point of it.